changing lives.
Someone said, love the addict and hate the addiction. Once again, good afternoon and welcome to the program Wounds of the Heart. We're going to help you heal anything that has caused wound in your heart, being it emotional, psychological, or whatever it may be. I've been your regular host, Pastor Danny. I'm seated. My guest is seated already. Let me use this platform to appreciate you, my cherished viewer, for being with us throughout day one till now. May God continue to bless you for your participation at home and wherever you find yourself. And also I'll appreciate Alpha Art for the flyers that he always do for this program. Alpha, God bless you. If you need Alpha Art, Instagram is Alpha Art, or if you need him personally, you can contact me and I will link you to him. Alpha Art is ready. I can't forget calling my people, Slicker Free. God bless you for the tremendous help you've been doing from ages, and God bless you, and may God continue to bless you people. We're still asking for sponsorship package. If you can help sponsor this program, or if you can connect us to someone, we're very glad that we can take this program very higher. And I'm just reminding you that next month we are celebrating our first anniversary, and it's going to be something else. I said that if you want to take part, you can just give yourself a video, 30 seconds, to tell us how impactful the program had been in your life and what you also want us to add for the next year. And we're very glad to hear from you. If you think that you don't want to show your face, but you can record on audio, we'll be glad to also have that. Any way your voice will be heard about Wounds of the Heart, we'll be very, very glad. As I said, if you want to also join in with this discussion, the WhatsApp line is 0559-680066. You can, it will be rolling on the screen, so you can also pick and share your comment, your question, and any suggestion is welcome. We are live on Facebook, and I'll be very glad that you share the page on your pages and let someone somewhere also get to know about this program for him or her to watch. As I said, my guest is ready. Richard Opare, good evening.
Good evening.
I know you've been on my show. You were the third person to be on the show when we started. So it is almost a year now.
Yeah.
And I trust you are doing well.
I'm great. Great.
I remember the last time you were here, we spoke about how you got yourself into addiction, and it was powerful. Before you speak for today, I would like you to just tell my audience or my viewers what you were addicted to, the stuff you were addicted to, so that at least it will inform them. Okay, that's the man some time ago he was on the show. But just before today, we're going to talk about the lifestyle of an addict, the life of an addict in the act and after recovery. How does it look like? And since he had gone through that experience before, it is better for him to come share with us those moments as an addict and after recovery, the way forward. Mr. Opare, let me sit well. All right, just a brief. Tell us about the addict, what you were addicted to, or the substances you were addicted to, briefly for me to continue with the next question.
Right. I'm glad to be here, and let me say that my joy is also that I'm not a stranger.
Exactly. That's wonderful.
Thank God for another day.
Exactly.
Like we had the discussion we had the last time. I think to give a recap. I had my brush as far as addiction to substances are concerned. And normally when we talk about substances, it varies. But I was a multiple user of various kinds of substances. Like I said the last time, I was on alcohol. And people normally think, like I said, that alcohol is just an ordinary thing. Why do we have to classify alcohol as a drug? But it's a psychoactive substance.
Okay.
And for me, alcohol was my gateway drug. You know, so anytime I have opportunity to speak about drug abuse and its implications, the very first thing I mention is alcohol.
All right.
You know, so I was on alcohol. Of course, I did cocaine. I was on marijuana. I was on heroin, and then I was a chain smoker of cigarettes. You know, so I did 5 drugs and many other ones that, you know, I had to shun along the line.
Whoa.
You know, like diazepam and other substances.
You also
like
took
that.
diazepam?
Yes, those substances. You know, in those days we used to call it the blue. You know,
okay.
or bama on the street.
Okay. So what you have never mentioned that one to me. I only know about those the smoking, the sniffing aspect. But what made you use
you know, because it's more of a pharmaceutical substance and you know, very addictive too. And I had to leave that earlier on, very early in the early stage of my drug use. I don't talk much about it, but it came in, you know, as a result of curiosity.
Okay.
For all the drugs I did, it was for curiosity.
Okay.
For some people, it comes in the form of, you know, not knowing, ignorance and things like that. You know? But for some of us, we're not that much ignorant about it. We had heard. I had heard severally in those days, you know, on radio. Radio wasn't that much vibrant.
Exactly.
For some reason, I got a few tips, information about how bad drugs were and things like that, you know. But when I started doing alcohol, like I told you the last time, the euphoria alone was something that I fell in love with, and I thought that it was a way to go.
Do you know what I remember? I wanted to share. When the first day you took, is it heroin or marijuana?
Marijuana.
You said you entered into the room, and what happened?
And then I was thinking about where the Noah's Ark would be around that time, the end of the sea, you know. And I had a voice that asked me to naked myself and run on the street. And I was sharing with somebody in one of the counseling program, and he said he also saw Moses with a rod about to divide the Red Sea into 2. And you know, very interesting times, you know, in those days. But thank God we are alive and still going strong. For me, it's a great moment if I have the opportunity to talk about drugs, because many of my friends, many of my using colleagues in those days, you know, I lost them. A lot of them are dead and gone. Many are in the psychiatric hospital as we speak now. And then a lot are in prison. So for being here with my swag, you know, and talking about drugs and its implication, I think that is an opportunity. It's a privilege, you know, not taking pride in it that I had been there and coming out and making the world to know where I had been and things like that. No. It's even if I take pride, it's in pride in Christ Jesus, because some of us are Christians. We know where we are coming from and some of the things that we have faced and how far we have come.
Correct.
So it's a privilege talking about this particular subject, and I think that we'll have a very great moment.
That is one. So tell us, as you began, for people to know how it went. You're multiple user of drugs, and you a lot of drugs that people are finding difficult to overcome, and by the grace of God, 5 and more. But now with your swag, as you said, quoting your word, with your swag, as you said, what is it like to be an addict?
Well, the journey into addiction, it's quite dicey, you know. For me, like I started with alcohol, you know. It wasn't something that I voluntarily jumped into, but I saw people doing. I saw my family members, some of my family members doing. I saw an uncle that I lived with doing, and I felt that, you know, the way, especially my uncle in those days, like I said, he was a very big person,
people,
you know, and people visit him, and when he take alcohol, the way they laugh and how, you know. So I thought it was a way to go. So I experimented in those days. When you are asked to clear the table, you take the under, you sip and things like that, and a bit tipsy, intoxicated in a way, and I fell in love, in quotes, with the euphoria. And so anytime I thought that I had to have it and keep going, you know, and be happy and things like that. And then eventually, I didn't like the way anytime I took alcohol, the way I behaved, you know. Sometimes the intoxication, you fall in gutters, and the next day you have bruises all over you and things like that. So in the course of time, I met these friends, and they were so very vibrant, if I say so. I mean that they could do the things that I couldn't do without alcohol. And then I found out later to be, heroin. And so, like it is, normally it's always free to start with. And so I was offered, and then I took. And the first day I took, I was like, this is what I actually been looking for all these years, and I found it. Hooray. So I took heroin, and this time it didn't spell on me. I wasn't falling on gutters, but I loved the euphoria. So now, anytime I talk about
wait. So after getting into the heroin, you went away from alcohol.
So I was taking alcohol alongside.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So for all these drugs, I never did away with one and moved to the other. So I did all simultaneously.
Okay.
So it was like a graduation, but I still was doing alcohol alongside. And then along the line, there was an introduction of cocaine.
Cocaine, okay.
So cocaine came in. And for me, my journey was something. Normally people start with marijuana, but marijuana was my last drug. It was the last drug that I took. And when I took marijuana, in my case, I realized that it's the most dangerous of all the drugs.
Okay.
It comes second after alcohol. Yeah, for alcohol, for me, it's the most dangerous, and then followed by marijuana because of the things that I experienced with marijuana and stuff like that. So these 5 drugs I used simultaneously. It was a very traumatic and very hard moment. In fact, when I started, it was so joyful. I was asking myself, what is this thing about these substances that people talk about and paint it so black and negative and things like that, because I hadn't experienced the negative effect of it. And in fact, I was enjoying it from the onset. And that is why people slip into addiction unknowingly.
Okay. Okay.
So the euphoria started at a point in time, and gradually, at the point, I realized that anytime I didn't take, for example, heroin, I felt sick, So I reported to my using colleagues, and they had graduated already. They told me that it was withdrawal, what we call the cold turkey on the street. So the only way to really arrest that particular situation was to take a little of it, and I did, and I felt okay. So it was like, then at this point in time, it had to be a consistent thing, so that I wouldn't fall sick as I experienced earlier. So I kept doing and doing and doing. So when I started now, using my money to buy and started going bankrupt, both physically, financially, spiritually, emotionally, I went so bankrupt that I began to hate myself.
Okay, that is the point I'll come. Viewers, he has started sharing. We want to know the life of an addict. Because when we were treating addiction, we spoke about the signs and symptoms and everything about that. He's practicalizing those signs and symptoms with us. But I want you to, if you have questions for him, if you have something you want to know, you can share it on our WhatsApp platform. That's 0559 680066, or put on our Facebook page, Hope TV GH. We are live. You can put it there. We will read it for you so that at least it will help someone who can't afford to write anything here. I'll go for this break. When I return, he's going to continue from where he paused. Please don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
As part of efforts to give back to the society and to fulfill Jesus' healing ministry, Asaman Seventh-day Adventist Hospital, located in the Ashanti region, is conducting the following services for its 2020 missionary service: free eye surgeries, reading glasses distribution, diabetics and hypertension management. The program starts on the 12th of October to the 6th of November 2020. It is a whole 1 month to give back to the society. On-site screening is still ongoing. Book an appointment now. Kindly call the following numbers for clarification and further inquiries. Administrator 0540 642782. Specialist 0242 257593. The program is sponsored by United Service to Africa, USTA, Ghana Adventist Health Service. You can also donate to support this noble cause. Bank name Ghana Commercial Bank. Account number 620-113-000-0074. Name is Seventh-day Adventist Hospital, Asaman. Mobile money account number is also 0591 443016. Also Seventh-day Adventist Hospital, Asaman. Ghana Mission 2020, fulfilling the commission of Christ through the healing ministry.
Don't worry, don't worry.
Welcome back from the break. Thank you so much for being there with us. I don't want to waste my time. Richie, so apparently you realized and falling sick, you started taking it and you thought you became fine. From the morning till evening of an addict, how do you guys live a daily routine?
All right, so the life of the addict is a routine. Like even when they get up, they don't get up willingly. It is the drug, the withdrawal, the symptoms, the cold turkey that gets them up. So for example, let's say on a Sunday, the addicts want to have enough sleep, nice sleep. But he feels restless at a point in time. He sweats on the bed or whatever, even if we sleep on bed anyway. He feels restless, and then so he's not able to really sleep if he wants to have a good sleep. Now when he gets up, there's normally a big yawn. Yawning is normal, everybody yawns, but this one's so big with water coming from the eyes, and this yawning continues, and these are the basic signs of withdrawal, or what we call cold turkey. That is, if the person has moved on from experimentation to recreational use to abusing the drugs, and then now graduated to the stage of addiction. Now, the next moment, he begins to feel joint pains, diarrhea, headache, stomach cramps, that even if he attempts to drink water or eat food, he gets stomach cramp, weaknesses, and all these symptoms from headache, stomach cramps, diarrhea, hot cold flashes, meaning that he's sweating and feeling cold at the same time in there, they all happen simultaneously. And so it's a kind of condition that nothing takes away except the same drugs that have created this particular condition. So like I said earlier, I was given and I felt good. So the addict would have to get another fix to be able to be normal. Now, at that point, the addict speaks a particular language. He says that, I'm taking, I want to cure. Charlie, mean take you, mean ton ya cure. Charlie, I take you, I won't go cure. Now,
it's a language you guys understand.
It's a street language. Charlie, I take you, I won't go cure. Now, I take means I'm having that withdrawal now. I won't go cure. It means that he wants to go and fix himself. Now, that particular language alone tells you that the addict is a sick person.
How is he or she a sick person?
Now, he's a sick person because, for example, if you have diarrhea, at least you're going through a condition which is not normal, with all of us. Now, if you have headache, severe headache, it's not normal. If you have stomach cramp, it's not normal. If you have hot cold flashes where you are sweating and having cold within at the same time, it's not normal. And what makes it so difficult and worse is that all these conditions are happening at the same time. right? So at that moment that he says that, shall I detect you? I won't go cure. Now the word cure is not a banking word. It's not an insurance word. It's a medical word.
Exactly.
Which means that the person has a condition that he wants to arrest.
Okay.
So it makes him a sick person. That is why, in most cases, professionally, we want to see the addict as a sick person. We want to see addiction as a disease than some demon,
spiritual,
condition or spiritual, induced condition. So that happens. So the addict at that point would go every length to make sure that he's well. Now, normally, if they start and it starts from the home, he starts lying for money because he wants to really go have the substance and then get well. So lies for money, steal sometimes in most cases. For women, some sell themselves. Some of the men also sell themselves, and do all sort of things that originally they wouldn't have loved to do in order to have the substance to get well. So they go out there and hustle. So they call it, we go and hustle, we go hustle. Whichever way the person gets the money,
he doesn't care.
He doesn't care. Right. Now, this is the time that you need to come to that realization that the person is a real addict, because if he can go every length
to get money for it, he doesn't really care if his life is on the line or somebody else's life is on the line. What he wants is the substance, and what will bring the substance is the money. He'll go every length. So that's why people go extent of stealing. That's why they, as you said, people sell themselves. Just have sex with me. Let me get my money quick.
Prostitution.
That's why people probably wouldn't care to take a family's property from money to sell something valuable in their life to get very cheap, to get what they want.
Yes.
And when you do that, what happens to that addict in that act? I've sold it. I've taken the drugs as a daily routine. What happened? How do you guys feel?
No, when you start, from the initial stages, you feel disappointed in your own self, you regret, So imagine the family television. You carry the family television, you sell out, you use for drugs. We are humans. We reason. So sometimes you have this regret coming that, why did I do that? But it looks like you have no option than to do it. Now, when you do it up to a point in time, your conscience die. You don't care what happens to whoever. Right? Now, when you exhaust the home and you no longer have access to the things you are already stealing, in fact, you've exhausted the home. Now, the next thing is to get out there. So through two things now, you join a gang that goes out there to steal or to do whatever they do to make money, because man must live. And for the addict, living is to have the drug. There's no any other way. Or take two odd jobs, like for example, Kaya Baller. I'm not saying Kaya Ballers or Kaya Ballers are
but
addicts.
You weren't like that, but because of the situation, you go
the situation. You go into
that is okay.
And let me say a big, respect to those out there who are trying to fend for themselves and who are doing odd jobs. It's not everybody out there who is carrying Kaya Baller or who is doing that is a drug addict. But most cases, addicts go into such, take
just to get money.
Those jobs to get money, and then but those jobs do not fetch that much. It's not able to support the lifestyle that much. So the majority go into stealing, So no doubt these days you see all sort of crime out there here and there. If you screen all those people who really are committing crimes here and there one way or the other, you realize that you find some, traces of drug use in almost all of them. So that is to be noted. And so when that happens, the person goes out there, commit whatever he wants to commit, gets the money, comes back, uses the drugs, and the next moment is, where is the next fix coming from? So it's become like a demand on you that you always have to ensure that you feed this thing called addiction, this demon called addiction. Otherwise you really are not normal. So it's a kind of a situation where sometimes it's as if they have been talked to all the time. All of us were talked to, advised, sometimes given all sort of promises by our family members that when you stop, they will take you abroad. So we are given all sort of promises. But at the end of the day, it's not as if we don't listen to the advice. It's not as if we don't see the importance of the advice and things like that. But we are not able to stop as a result of some of these things, like the withdrawal, for example. And addiction is a disease or sickness of the mind, of the body, and then in some cases we say of the spirit. Because we say of the spirit because what is it at all that you are doing that you can't stop? What is it at all that even when you are prompted, you are always in denial?
Exactly.
So for people being in denial, we say that they are in spiritual bondage because you know that there is something wrong with you. And everybody around you is saying and prompting you about the danger that you find yourself, and you still are in denial. You still are giving reasons, justifying, rationalizing. So all these things are, signs that there is a spiritual bondage.
All right. So before you, because the day hasn't ended yet. So that with what you just said, that made all addicts prolific liars, right?
Yes, all addicts are liars. Let me be very honest and frank with you. But you see, the good news also is that the opposite is that all recovering persons are honest.
Exactly. That is a wonderful note. Yes, those in the act are prolific liars. Those who are genuine recovery. That's like, let's add the word genuine, because there are people who say they are in recovery, but then they will still go relapses and just go take back. So genuine recoverers are honest.
Very, very honest.
And addicts.
People in active addiction are liars. So it's a kind of lifestyle that you need to understand, that you need to have an in-depth knowledge about to be able to really cope with the situation. Because you see, addiction makes the person in question a threat to his own self. So every addict is a threat to himself. He's a threat to the family. He's a threat to a community, the community in which he lives.
Exactly.
So because at any point in time, when you find yourself in some of these activities that are spelled out, going out there to do whatever in order to survive, you put yourself in danger.
Exactly.
So you're a threat to yourself. Now, if you live in a home where because of you, there's no more television in the house. Because of you, nobody is able to put his mobile phone comfortably anywhere. Because of you, nobody is able to place his wallet comfortably anywhere. It means that you have become a threat to the family. The family is not able to sleep because at the time that you are supposed to be at home, let's say an 18-year-old boy, a 20-year-old boy, 12 o'clock, 1 a.m., you are not home. You become a threat to the family.
Exactly.
The parents, are not able to sleep as a result of going out there and staying late. You are a threat to the community because everybody at all is so alert anytime. Why should it be so? Just because of you in the community.
When you're coming, they are very careful.
They are careful. When you're going out, they are careful. So the life of the addict, one addict in a community is a big threat. Right. But the good news is that there is a way out. That is always what I advocate for. That people in addiction, people who really are living with persons with substance use disorders or addiction, or in the community that they know that XYZ persons are living with substance use disorders, the assurance is that there is a way out.
Exactly.
And that way out starts with a decision.
Pari will come there, Richie will come there. So now we were talking about the daily routine of an addict. They wake up late, sleep late, wake up late, yawning, tear, whatever happens during the day. In a long time, for instance, an addict who is in the office definitely might still time to go. When the craving comes, will still time to go and do what he or she is supposed to do. Now, after work, getting closer to bedtime, what happened then?
Okay, so the addict working in an institution. Normally, eventually, he will lose his job anyway.
Eventually.
So, yes, eventually he will lose his job.
Okay.
So, but let's look at when he's working. Productivity is a problem in that particular sense. Because most of them, after every minute or two, they would have to sneak to the toilet or something and fix themselves. They have to go out there and smoke some cigarettes or top up something, to make them function well. So that alone will affect productivity. They are always quick to close. They don't really waste time in the office. So even if there are additional work to do, they really want to really get out there very quickly and go and do their own thing, out there.
Richard, you are giving my viewers some practical signs and symptoms of an addict who is actively working in any institution. Yeah. So if you're a manager, if you are a supervisor, if you are whoever in authority, and you have this worker living this experience, then which means that that person should be spoken to.
Yes, it needs to be assessed.
Exactly.
So sometimes they don't come to work very early. The person needs to be assessed, and in most cases they're extremely nice. The reason they are extremely nice is that they always, and they fake it because they want favor from their bosses and their other working colleagues. But then again, in the office, they can be dangerous.
Exactly.
Because when we look at how they really are always looking for money, it means that the people around the person should be careful. So imagine such a person working in a financial institution. It means that there's a danger in there. Okay, so it's quite a dicey situation. But then we always keep saying that such a person still needs help because the cost of rehabilitating one person to come back to work is less than recruiting and training somebody on the job. Okay, so I sit here and I say they are a threat. However, I will still sit here and say that it is possible for them to recover and be very productive.
Exactly.
I've said time and again that if you want a gold mine where you want that nugget of knowledge, it is not in Obuasi. It's in the ghetto. Because when we started, I thought that addicts were people out there who were, push drugs and look dirty, shabby, very violent people and things like that. Yes, to some extent, yes. But in the ghetto, there are lawyers in the ghetto. There are doctors in the ghetto. There are all sort of people in the ghetto. And when you begin to speak to some of them, you marvel, because then you ask, what are you then doing here? That is where we say that we use our intelligence to destroy ourselves, unfortunately. So it's a problem, but a problem that has a solution.
Exactly.
Right? So we'll go into the solution like
exactly.
You said.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
So it's a problem that has a solution. So around this time when the addict is done with going out there and soliciting or conning or stealing or doing whatever he has to do, and then used within the day, then there's the final use, because most of the time is a 3 times kind of thing: morning, afternoon, evening, depending on how you have trained yourself in using. Some people smoke in the morning and they are able to manage the afternoon and then smoke at night.
No, sorry, the word you just said, that how you've trained yourself.
Yes. So you see, when addiction or the use of substance is such that the time you use, when that time comes, it's like an alarm bell. It will prompt you. Okay? So if you are the person that you have been using morning, afternoon, evening, at that time you'll be prompted. It doesn't matter the quantity you have used.
Okay.
You will not be able to make up for the evening.
Okay.
If you have used in the morning, you are supposed to use in the afternoon. You will not be able to make time for the next use time or period. So when I say training yourself, I'm speaking in quotes that if you have used, you have a routine, then it goes in that manner. There are those that, because they work in the offices and things like that, they use in the morning and then they use when they close. Okay. There are also those who use in the morning, afternoon, evening. So it's kind of routine. And when you have used throughout the day to that particular time in the evening, that is where you are taking your last meal. And normally they don't like to eat. Addicts don't like to eat solid food.
Why?
One of the reasons, you see, because most addicts, especially those who do cocaine, they are always in a hurry. They are always, wanting the next fix, because cocaine doesn't satisfy.
Oh, okay.
It's not like heroin where you sit at one place, you nod, and You even lose touch of your surroundings and things like that. For cocaine, you always want it, and you are always on the go. You know, so the time to sit down to eat is even a problem. You know, and then they lose appetite. So the eating is a problem. But normally they like sugary food. Ice cream, mineral, things like that. And then food that you can eat whilst walking, whilst going. You know, so for sitting down and making about 3 minutes, 4 minutes to eat, it's a problem. It's too much a time. And look, you will mix the next connection. So normally they want something that they can be walking and eating at the same time. You know, so it's not a kind of lifestyle that is it's good to see.
Exactly.
You know, it's not the lifestyle that for those of us who had gone in, and every addict out there will tell you that at a certain point in the use of the drugs, they look back and ask themselves, why did I even start this in the first place? You know, but like I said, addiction to start with is always free. I mean, to start using drugs, there's always somebody somewhere, somehow, that is willing and ready to introduce you to the substance for free. And that's where the danger is. That is why it is very important for some of these discussions that we are having. So that somebody out there who hasn't started would understand that don't even start in the first place. Because when you start, it sounds well, it looks good, it's sweet, in quote. Okay, the euphoria, it relaxes you, and so on and so forth. And unfortunately, people listen to some of these things and they want to experiment. They are so curious and want to find out, what is it at all this gentleman is talking about? Let me try. And it is a no, don't touch me thing.
Please, don't try it at home. We're trying to help people who are curious, wanting to taste anything that comes their way. There are people who want to get to where he has gotten to, or where he got to, and how he was able to go through that. You also want to get there. Please, we have individual differences, and what is in him is not the same in mine, and probably yours. So please, now the addict is sleeping, or he's about sleeping. I will go for this break. When I come, the addict will wake up to find solutions to the addiction that he or she finds himself to. Please, if you want to join the conversation, I told you, our WhatsApp platform is strolling on the screen. You can WhatsApp, or just on the Facebook page. You can comment or send your contribution. Any question for him will be welcome. Please don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
We want to defy our family's decision and get married or elope. I need advice. What should I do?
Please, what should I do?
How do I tell her I cheated on her months ago? I need help. What should I do?
Okay, so for me, the moment I read the story, the first thing that came to mind was, wow, knowledge is indeed power. Sometimes we go through situations because we have no knowledge of how to go about them.
If you come from a home like that, you are likely to accept anything the outsider would, direct at.
The fact that we had an interesting ceremony where a priest prayed and all of that doesn't mean that magically you have turned into something else.
If he finds his way to God, a Bible-believing church, and he goes and he wants to change, nothing is
he
impossible.
Giving his properties to charity and stuff?
Oh no, why? Okay, I think this is another discussion that we will not end today, so we'll not even go into it.
Real Talk, showing this and every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Welcome back from the break. As I said, the addict is asleep, wanting to wake up the next day to say no to addiction. Richie is still here to tell us about the life in recovery, how does it feel? And the problems and the trials that is in recovery. Richie, now the addict is asleep. He wants to stop, he wants to quit addiction. Probably dreaming about it. He's awake in the morning. What was your turning point?
Good. So I think sometimes when you are beaten and beaten very well, it's good. You know, so most of the time, the addict will not stop until he's beaten and beaten well.
Okay.
They call it rock bottom.
Okay.
You know, when he's hit the wall very well. There used to be an advert of one insurance company where somebody falls from the
and the cushion. There's
you know, and then there's a cushion. No, that is not the kind of fall that we want the addict to fall. Unfortunately, I mean, it's not the very best way to go where you fall on the floor and feel it. You know. But normally that's what happens. And then there's an awakening that, look, I need to do something about this situation. So there's a decision. The addict must take a decision.
Firstly, decision.
First, decision.
Okay.
I am sick and tired of this. You know, a decision. Because when you take a decision and you are so much into it, you are so obsessed about the act of wanting to stop, your mind gives you some ideas as to what to do and what not to do, right? So first of all, there must be that decision. And then that decision will lead you to preparing yourself to stop. But it varies. Everybody has his own turning points. For me, like I said on my last program, I took to prayer. You know, in those days, 17 years back, so soon, 17 years.
Last year was 16 years.
Yes, I took to prayer. And it was a very difficult thing. I was praying and using at the same time, and then something happened. I fell sick, and then through the sickness, and I was still using, but at a point I felt so restless. I felt as if I was going to die using and then in taking the medication at the same time. And then finally I had my dream that when I used, I was going to die like that person dead over there that I saw in my dream, like which I shared the last time. And then there was a turning point. Now, for some other people, the turning point may not be like mine.
Exactly.
I have just described mine. Looks as if it
simple.
was so simple and easy, but it was a quite difficult thing. I know people who have had their turning point in prison.
Okay.
I'm not saying that is a place to go. But then sometimes you pray and then you end up in prison. It's God's own way or arrangement of putting you there to stop, you know. But in most cases, turning points can also be in the rehab centers, you know, where I encourage viewers, those who have problems in their homes, parents who have some husband, wife, or some child, you know, out there who is using substance. I recommend rehabilitation where professionals attend to such persons and then they get through with their recovery. So it varies, but the most important thing is the decision. Now, it is not enough to even come out of drugs, because coming out of drugs even comes with its own problems. Most drug addicts, if you had used drugs like I did for 19 years, it means that there were a lot of things that I didn't know. I didn't know how to really bath well. I didn't know how to brush my teeth well. I didn't know how to shave. I didn't know so many things, how to wear dresses. So because in those days, anything at all, I mean, my chewing stick was cigarette in the morning. And sometimes I'll go for about a week or two without even realizing that I hadn't even brushed my teeth.
Seriously.
You know, and as I speak to you out there, there are people out there who hadn't taken their bath for about a year. And I'm being very real, you know, without realizing that they hadn't taken their bath. They are not mad, they haven't gone insane, but it's kind of what addiction comes with, you know. So when you stop, it's like a re-engineering of life. You know, you need to really go through all these processes, learn how to be up in the morning and brush your teeth routinely, learn how to take your bath in the morning, learn how to shave, learn how to even speak. Because in the ghetto, on the street, we speak anyhow, you know. And so when you come back, and you are reintegrated back into society, even speaking to the next person, you need to be able to learn some of these basic things. You know, you need to be able to learn how to, most of the things, one of the things that is a trigger to most persons in recovery is money. Because most persons in recovery don't know how to handle money. Money is a trigger. And so when it comes, sometimes it's like they have a flashback. hey, Charlie, this thing, Charlie, make I just go take just one booster today. I don't go use again, just today, pay. And it's led a lot of people back into using.
Okay.
You know, so one of the things to master is money.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
As much as money is good, it's also a threat to many of, you know, persons with substance use out there, you know, when they are recovery. So money. Another thing has to do with women. Because when you come out of drugs, you know, the first month, second month, you know, the body goes through a whole lot of transformations, changes, and things like that. And one of the things that your sexual drive becomes so active, you know, and it's so strong that if care is not taken, I mean, that is also another problem, you know. So the person in recovery needs to go through all these transformations. That is why the rehab center is, center is a very good place to be, so that because they know you are taught about how to handle some of these things. Another thing is anger.
Okay.
You know, they easily get angry.
Those in recovery?
Yeah, those in recovery, because it's a lifestyle during drug use, active drug use.
Okay.
And so when they stop using, it's like it doesn't automatically leave. You know, so they need to be taught how to handle themselves, how to tolerate certain things, and then also live life on life terms. Because you see, life has, you know, a lot of terms. For example, a loved one dies, and then you are in recovery. What do? For us, the only way we had known to nab pain is to go on drugs, or is to use drugs, is to use alcohol, cocaine, heroin, marijuana, and things like that. So in recovery, when you lose your mother, when you lose your father or a loved one, what are you going to do? Are you going to really nab that pain with substance one more time? So we'll have to live with life terms. And then marriages, a lot of marriages have gotten people back into using.
Okay.
You know, husband is, you know, become a problem even in recovery. Wife doesn't understand the husband and how to live with person in recovery, and then keeps doing things that are not supposed to be done, in quote. And then the guy is provoked, and the next thing you know is that he takes cigarette and other things follow.
Oh, so that this makes people in recovery get back into.
Yes. So these and many other things get people in recovery back into using. So those are the things that really get people to relapse. But we have a course on recovery and relapse that teach people the skill to be able to withstand some of these things that I have mentioned so far. So it is very important for the person in recovery to understand where he's going, the transformation, where he is and where he's going, you know, so from active addiction to recovery, what is to be expected in recovery, and how to really be able to cope with life in recovery, so you don't get back using. Some of us, all of us, I mean, me in particular, I've gone through all that, and I'm still going through, you know, the provocation, the problems out there, you know, marital issues, which we all have one way or the other, financial issues, issues in living with people in our community, you know, issues with friends, working colleagues, and things like that. There are issues that will come. I mean, they will come without invitation, you know, but you need to grow in recovery to be able to withstand and be able to manage these, you know, problems or issues, so that at least when you reach that point where you are able to overlook certain things, it means you are growing, you are recovering. In fact, recovery is about progress. Recovery is about growth. It's not just not using the drugs. Okay. Not using the drug is abstinence. I mean, anybody is talking about. But recovery consists of some of these things I've mentioned. Not using the drug plus restructuring your life is equal to recovery.
That's a good definition.
You know, so it's very important for you to look at it holistically, making sure that yes, you've done away with active substance use, but you need to really position yourself as far as life is concerned and get on with life. That thing called life, it will hit you. You have your share of what life brings or comes with. You know, and all of us are having our share one way or the other. But the addict is so vulnerable. And one of the things that really precipitates drug use at a point in time has to do with some of these life problems. So if the person is not able to take it, the only thing that relapses and nab the pain or difficulties in life and so on and so forth is a drug.
Okay.
So he takes a drug, and then temporarily he forgets about that statement the wife made or the husband made, that statement the boss made, and so on and so forth. So it's a kind of re-engineering, a kind of thing that every person in recovery must learn to do. Right. Otherwise, it's always be square one, just as we have seen. You know, it will reoccur, it will reoccur, it will reoccur, and you go back. So, you know, when you stop using drugs, you know, let me talk about a little about the trust.
You have 5 minutes to end.
Yes,
so.
because it's very difficult for you to have trust. In fact, the stigma alone is something.
Exactly.
Yes. So stigmatization is something that, you know, I think that people out there must be taught to be able to know and to be able to manage, as far as the addict coming from the rehabilitation center or
wherever
who is reformed or wherever is concerned. Because, you know, when somebody uses drugs, and the person, wherever he goes and comes out back clean, the first people or person that becomes happy that the person has gone to change his life, normally are the parents.
Exactly.
They are so happy that the child or that loved one has changed. But they say at the same time, they are the last to really believe that they have really changed.
Exactly.
You know, because the gentleman has really caused a lot of problems in the house. It's not the first time he's gone and come back and behaved well. Perhaps he's gone and come severally. So what is the difference this time around? What is difference is he making this time around? So the parents or the immediate family people become happy, but they are the last to trust or to believe that the person really has changed. Now the community people get divided. There are some that embrace you, that, oh, wonder new machine, and things like that. And there are some that don't also trust you at all, because the day last week you stole their file, you know, or played on them, you know. So for them, there are some people that whatever it takes, even after years of being in recovery, they still don't trust you. And that is fine. That's okay. That's okay. So the stigma is a problem, you know. But you see, it's very important for the person with a problem, the addict in recovery, to concentrate on himself.
Exactly.
And work on himself.
Exactly.
Because addiction speaks for itself. You know, you reach a point where everybody knows, you don't need to tell people that you have stopped using drugs. I mean, it will be obvious. For example, the community in which I lived, that I stopped, I was in that community for about 4 or 5 years before I moved. But before I moved, I had gained that trust that Opari has really stopped using drugs. Because my lifestyle, my behavior, the way I conducted myself really spoke that I had really stopped using drugs. Right? So the act of people saying or not saying must not be your business. The important thing is that keep concentrating on yourself, keep working on yourself, keep making sure that you are progressing. In other words, you are growing as far as your recovery is concerned. Be honest enough. I mean, be honest. You know, surrender where you have to. Ask for help where you have to. Be open-minded. You know, listen to other views. Because the truth is that when you are using drugs, the unfortunate thing is that everybody at all advise you. I remember when one time I met a very, you know, a friend of mine. We were all born in the same community, and he had taken into alcohol, and I was doing multiple drugs. So I met him one day, and then he called me, drunk, very highly drunk, and then he started advising that he had heard that I'm smoking cocaine. I have to try and stop. At the time he was advising me, he was drunk. You know, so what I'm trying to say is that you get advice from all sort of people, which is good, right? Now, when you stop, be ready for two things. Be ready that there are some people who used to advise you at the time you were using actively, who will turn against you.
Exactly.
You know, even some family members. Okay. Especially, let's just assume that you are in a family where you are supposed to inherit a property, and then you have gone wayward. You are not in control of anything. And then, like the prodigal son, you've gone and come back home. And then now you are to take over the properties. You are now clean, honestly recovering. You think that that family head will be happy to see you come back and come and take over? Yes. So that preparation, that mindset, that mental preparation must be made that it's not everybody that will cherish or be happy about your recovery.
Okay.
And that is also fine. So when you come to that point of realizing or understanding that it's not everybody that will be happy about your recovery, you are good to go.
Thank you.
You are good to go.
Thank you. This is very serious. I'm very shocked about this science exhibited by an addict. May the Lord visit someone out there who is in this problem of addiction. Thank you. Thank God that I know you. Thank you so much, Elder, for such a wonderful message. Opera, our time is up so soon. I think that this is not yours. This you'll come back again, and I know you come.
I'm not
back.
a stranger here.
Yeah, no. This is your second home. So far as your program that you operate, it's an advocate for drug addictions. He accepts call for programs, for church programs, for institutional programs. You can call upon him, and Opare will come to talk to your youth, to talk to the church, to talk to the society, community, or student about the usage of drugs and how best it will affect their life. I'm glad that today he accepted the call to come join us. Unfortunately, our time is up. I know that you are saying, oh, at wherever you're watching, but then our time is up. I just want to... So if you want Opare to come to you, just call me. Just call me. Call me. Drop your contact that you needed the person Pastor was in. And I'll take charge of that. Don't worry about it. Just drop your contact or call me, and we will take it from there. As I said, such programs needs to be sponsored, that we can bring such people here to sit and advise or educate the public about what we are, how best our heart will be wounded, and how best we'll be able to heal those wounds in our heart. So you can, the little you give will take this program very far. So if you really want this program to excel to its high height, you can drop your name that you want to sponsor one way or the other, and I know God will richly bless you. The program, as I said, will be 1 year next month, and we are planning for a mega program that day. We are asking you that as you've watched this program with me from day one or any time you joined in, how best has the program helped you? What should we add? What should we subtract? You can do a voice record or video, short 30 seconds. Just send it to our WhatsApp 0559 680066. Then we will collate all, and that day will be playing for you out there to know that these are what people are saying about the program. And I think that it will help us. And don't forget to add what you expect from the program for the next year as well. I'll continue to thank Silica Freak. They have been supportive with this program. God bless Silica Freak. Alpha Art, God bless you for the flyers you always put us on. Thank you so much. And the crew behind the screen, those in the engine room, God bless everyone for making this program a success. And God bless you, the viewer, yes, the one watching, for making this program a success. Let me leave you with Galatians chapter 6, verse 2. Let me read quickly. Galatians chapter 6, verse 2. The word of God says, bear one another's burden, so fulfill the law of Christ. We are here to help you, to help support you, to bear your burden with you, and to help you put your burden off your shoulders so that you can be free again. And another word of God says that if the Son will set you free, you shall be free indeed. Mr. Richard Opare, God bless you for coming in. God bless you. And I know that whenever, as you are not a stranger here, whenever the call comes, you Hannah Ed and come and share the experiences. This is the lifestyle of an addict. The next time you come, probably you're going to talk to us about alcohol addiction. So the experiences when you went through the alcohol. Exactly. And viewers, God bless you for joining in. I've been your regular host, Pastor Daniel Abedu Bidiaba. I'm out.